As you heard, I'm from New York, and I went to school. I went to undergrad and grad school, and this represents my education. And I studied psychology. And I got my master's in psychology, became a psychologist. And where do you think I went to practice psychology?
Las Vegas.
Las Vegas. I went to Iowa. Now Iowa, Northwest Iowa, very small communities, 5,000 people, but every 10 miles there was another community. So this is my, what I enjoy doing, my hobbies, and that's magic. So I was able to entertain, like soybean days in Sheldon, Iowa, and Hartley, and all the different places. I was able to do magic for a lot of the communities down there. However, as you know, Iowa is two, and this is my lifestyle. It's too cold, it's too hot, it's too sunny, it's too snowy, it's just two. And I started my family there. I met my wife from Pittsburgh and we brought her out to Iowa, had our first child. And values and beliefs. Well, Iowa is very family-oriented, very community-oriented. So I moved out there. I know I was an outsider, but I wasn't much of a threat, so they accepted me. And they brought me in, and I went to all sorts of Wednesday night football and things like that for them. And based on all that, the pieces all fit together into my life. Somehow they did. There we go. So all the pieces fit together in my life. And I was just starting out. I was my first job. And it fit into my frame of life as well. Or so I thought. Because I was in Iowa and starting a family, I found out I needed some more things. Like I needed more money. Like I needed a career path. And as a psychologist in Iowa, it's very hard to, grow up and do more things other than psychology. And I also wanted to do magic. I wanted to expand my magic, and I wanted to have my family have a lot of opportunities to see what's out there. And so Crack started to develop in my plan, and I said, well, how can I do more? I mean, I'm busy with my job, I'm busy getting educated, I have a family. How can I do more? I can't fit it in. So I sat down with my wife and I said, I've got to come up with a purpose. I can't just do this and that, and I got to come up with a greater purpose for myself. How can I tie this all together? And we thought about it, and I said, I'm going to need to go back and get some more education. So I went to learn about business, and I learned about public speaking, and I did a lot of those types of things. And I moved to a place where I could have a better leisure activities. I played tennis, wasn't able to do it in Iowa, but I was able to do it in New York, and now in California. So I put these all together, and having a greater purpose, to me, was to create memorable moments for people. Because that's what I do in magic, right? I get in front of people, I show you something, and you'll remember it. And I did that in my business. I started a consulting company, and I would create, with the clients, memorable moments. With my kids, I would do the same thing. How can I create memorable moments? So I had a greater purpose. Jonathan.
Yes.
What's your greater purpose?
I think my greater purpose is to give back to my community as much as I can. You may know I'm a private wealth manager because everything I learned from the number one father-in-law, Dennis Petnell. He also taught me about Rotary and service above self, so I own that as well. So for me, giving back fills my cup, gives me a chance to have kindness every day and just have gratitude. So that's
Right?
Told you he was
He
gonna
took
make
mine. But during COVID, we were all wondering, are we going to survive? Are we going to make it in this world? And I was approached to join Rotary, and I had been approached previously, and just so happens it was a good timing. And my whole goal is to give back, just like what Jonathan's talking about. What are we all here for? is to give back to the community, especially our local communities and international, but I really enjoy the local side of it, so I appreciate you all and I appreciate you too. Good job.
Thank you. So, the four-way test, right? Many of you into the four-way test. Is it the truth? Is it
the truth?
So that's what you do, and looking at it, whether it's wheelchairs for other people, etc. You're giving back. So when I put all these pieces together, I found out I had room.
No, you put it wrong.
For something else. By coming with a greater purpose, I was able to find it fit into my puzzle, and it fit into my greater frame of life.
Oh, that makes sense.
Or so I thought.
Oh, yeah, big life habit.
Because 7 years ago, I was playing tennis out here in California, and my arm started to hurt, and I tried to figure out what I could do. Went to many doctors, they couldn't figure it out. Finally went to one doctor, he did a lot of tests, and found out I had cancer. I had B-cell lymphoma. So I said, oh, not knowing what's going to happen. So I went through 6 months of chemo, and then I had 15 radiation treatments. And in the 13th radiation treatment, I was trying to get back into shape, because you want to be in good shape. Didn't have much hair, but I want to try to stay in shape. And on the 13th time, I was playing racquetball, and I beat the guy. I thought it was really cool. So we went out for a high five, and I didn't remember anything after that because I had a cardiac arrest. And I was told that a woman who was 62 years old was doing jazzercise next to the racquetball courts, came in and gave me CPR, and she saved my life. Because you think about it, before the defib came out, and before the firemen and the ambulance took me to the hospital, you need oxygen, and they kept me alive. They rushed me to the hospital, and I was in a coma and all the rest, and learned how to walk again and all that. So, as you can see, my lifestyle changed. And the question was, what was I going to do? Oh, I didn't mention that in addition to that, I had a triple bypass and I had an aortic valve replaced. And what could I do? I could become very bitter. I could get angry at the world. I could do all those things. Or I might show some gratitude. And so what I did a year after I had the problems, I did a Reunite program. And a Reunite program is when you take all the people that helped you in your life and you bring them together and say thank you. So in my house, I got the ambulance drivers and the doctors and all the people together, and I said thank you. Now, that was for me because, as you know, believe it or not, if you have gratitude, you live longer. You actually live longer if you have gratitude. Because when you're gracious and you have gratitude, there's no room for anger and all the other bad emotions. But what I also found out was the people in the room had gratitude also. Because of HIPAA, ambulance drivers take these people out to the hospital and they drop them off and pick up the next. And they don't know what happens to them. Yeah. Now I know 10% of the people with cardiac arrest make it, but I was one of the ones that did it. And they were blown away to hear that actually happened. So in my frame of life now, taking a look at a greater purpose, and that's what I do. I own a software company, but I enjoy sitting down. I enjoy making people think about having magical or memorable moments. And the pieces of my puzzle fit together, don't they?
Yeah.
And in my frame of life,
Totally.
they also fit like that. So thank you very much for letting me entertain you. I would suggest you need to take a look at your test and recognize that by having gratitude, by having a greater purpose and letting people know what they are, it's going to make you a better person, live longer, and be happier. Thank you.